Tears for the Tear God, Salt for the Salt Throne, and Gas the Leaf Tribe.
I was trying to answer the question. If Trudeau wins a minority government in October 2019, who do you want to see as the official opposition and why? And I recorded a whole video. I had images like the current state of our parliament. Something like, not a projection exactly, but more along the lines of wildest dreams, best case scenario, something like this. I recorded for quite some time, edited down to 10 minutes, labeled it wishful thinking, and canned it. Didn't post it. But recently I was reminded of a Nanos poll that came out a while ago, suggesting that 17% of Canadians would support Maxime Bernier in the coming election. Doing the quick math, if votes equal seats, I'll circle back, 17% of the seats would be 57 seats in the House of Commons. I only gave him 53. But it's a parliamentary system. Votes don't equal seats. We know this because Trudeau's Liberals, with 39% of the vote, got 54% of the seats. So suddenly, even as low as 12%, something like this, wishful thinking as it may be, no longer seems impossible to me.
Come and hear the song of Slanesh. Hear this dirge and despair.
I'm sure many of you are already saying, that's impossible. It'll never happen. Wishful thinking. That's not the question. I don't have to justify this. It's my hypothetical. The question is, what do I want? And why? That's what I'm trying to answer. So this is what I want. And yes, I actually want a liberal minority. I want that. I want the liberal minority as long as the Conservative Party is the official opposition and the PPC has enough seats to push them over the edge so that when it comes down to votes on legislation, if the Conservative Party and the PPC vote together, they can stop whatever legislation the Liberals introduce, regardless of what coalition they form with the NDP and the Greens and Bloc, whoever. And the reason I want this is that I think this is what would be needed for many Conservative Party voters to be convinced not only that the PPC is not a flash in the pan, they're not some fringe party, they're just properly conservative, but it would show them over and over again when the CPC either makes concessions they don't have to when they try to introduce legislation to the Liberal Party, or they vote along with the Liberal Party when the Liberals introduce legislation, or they abstain from voting where the PPC objects to Liberal legislation and allow Trudeau to run amok, that they're just exactly what Bernier calls them, the other arm of the LibCon party. And I think they need to see it. I think they need to see it in action, and also to have enough seats in there to go, you know what, maybe I will vote for that weird fringe party flash in the pan that isn't actually those things. But people are stubborn. Is it Missouri? That's the show me state. Canada's kind of like that too. That's why, 10 years later, the Green Party still has 3 seats. Haven't shown us anything, May. Get with the program. But for the people who are actually conservative, I think they just don't see Maxime Bernier and the PPC as a viable option. And something like this would prove them wrong. You're still here. Maybe you're curious as to why I think that might happen. It's 2 reasons. 1, Canada is gigantic. It's monstrous. Vast is not nearly enough word to describe how fucking huge this place is. It takes a long time to get anywhere. In some cases, the next town could be a day's drive away. Now, there are some city centers, all right, a few million people. Toronto, Vancouver, Ottawa, generously, Montreal, where if you live and work downtown and shop downtown, you might be able to get by on public transit. But everywhere else, you really do rely on a personal vehicle. And these bastards want to tax your gasoline to power your personal vehicle. Every other party that is not the PPC wants to put a price on carbon. And you need it. You can't survive. And you can't survive because of the second reason. It's fucking cold up here. It is so ridiculously cold. Even in our most southern regions, below what's called the 49th parallel, Southern Ontario where I live, and Nova Scotia, we still routinely hit minus 40 in the winter. Okay? It's not uncommon. I used to live in Winnipeg. Winnipeg shuts down 3 times a year, give or take, for 3 to 5 days at a time, for excessive cold and snow. That it's minus 50 and you're eyeball deep in snow. If you're relying on public transit to carry 5 days worth of supplies back to your home, I think there's like 10 to 12% chance that you're going to die that winter. You really need a personal vehicle to make sure that your home is well stocked. You know, if you live in a place like Brigus in Newfoundland, or Kenora in Ontario, or Prince Albert, Kelly, I'm guessing, in Saskatchewan, you rely on your personal vehicle to be well stocked so you can stay in as often as possible whenever you need to. But they want to tax the shit out of your gasoline in your personal vehicle because you're a bad person and climate change is your fault. And then, guess what? 90+% of homes in Canada are heated by natural gas and oil. And they want to tax that too. I know a guy. He went up north to teach. He lived in a place where if he didn't chop wood every day, he would die. And that's not an exaggeration. He would get home at the end of the workday. His house would be barely above freezing, and there's a few embers burning in the wood-burning stove. And he would stoke that fire up with the wood he'd chopped the day before, and go outside in the minus 40 and chop more wood. That's what Canada's like. That's Canada. And they want to tax that. They want to put a tax on your ability to not die in the winter. They're literally trying to pour you to death. And I don't think it's unreasonable that the only party that's saying, we're not going to tax your oil, we're not going to tax your gasoline, your ability to get around and heat your home, we're not taxing it. I don't doubt for a second that that's going to earn them a fuck ton of seats. So, cheers. Good luck, Max. Let's do this. Relevant links to shit I said in the description? Maybe. I'm Irving Twin. Like, subscribe, or don't. It's a free country. At least it used to be.
They would silence us?